the news of the day, really. And that is that it's not really a surprise. We knew it was coming. But the Denver Broncos have decided to release Russell Wilson, or they informed him today that he would be released. Again, no surprise. They benched him late in the season for Jarrett Stidham. And so you knew that tenure was coming to an end. So after 2 years in Denver, Russell Wilson is now searching for a new team after what was just a horrific experience for him and the Broncos, to be honest. Rob, this is arguably the worst trade in NFL history. The Broncos gave up 5 draft picks, 2 of them first round, 2 second round, and then gave Russell Wilson a 5-year, $242 million contract. Obviously, it wasn't all guaranteed. But, Rob, in releasing him, they are going to take an $85 million dead cap hit over the next 2 years. So they obviously just want to get rid of him at all costs. When you take on that type of money, just to get rid of a guy. So what is your take on this situation?
I hope they have bad karma. Chris, I don't care normally. But what they did to him, Russell Wilson, was as dirty as it gets. And this is to justify Sean Payton. No, what is their option, Chris? And why would you take such a cap hit that is unheard of in the NFL? Like, it doesn't make sense to me, other than to prove a point to back Sean Payton, to say we don't want him regardless under any circumstances. Teams have had to hold on to people, Chris, because it doesn't work out. You know what I mean? Financially.
Right.
And he didn't play that poorly last year. Was he great? No. But he didn't play that poorly.
It was really interesting, Rob, because...
Don't you agree with that?
Well, the number... He was certainly better than he was 2 years ago.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not even close.
That's not even right.
He was decent last year. Now, the numbers... This is what's interesting, Rob. The numbers for Russell Wilson last year say he was actually good. But I got to be honest, and let me give you this. You're going to be shocked. He was, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He was 6th in the league in passer rating. He had 26 touchdowns, Rob, and 8 interceptions. All right, so that looks good. I got to be honest, man. I watched their games. It's baffling to me because it wasn't that he was, like I said, he wasn't bad, but he was, I guess the word is pedestrian. And the numbers don't say that. Now, he only threw for 205 yards a game. That's pedestrian.
Yeah, but they didn't want him to, and they didn't want him to cook like.
No.
This was different.
But I just thought, Rob, they weren't good in the red zone. I don't think he played as well as his numbers suggest. Now, the numbers are the numbers, so it says he was decent. He was decent. But he didn't play great last year. But you're right. Like, what options? Where are they going now?
Where are they going? Home dinner, maybe a show. They ain't going to the playoffs. And here's the other thing. Chris, Sean Payton had it for him before he even got there. He really did. This was a weird thing because people thought, and you know this, when they made this gigantic trade, it was because everybody believed all they needed was to add a quarterback, add water, stir, and they were going to the Super Bowl. They had a great defense. Oh, my God, they just need a quarterback. That's all they need. And then they got it together. Remember, their defense was great. Chris, at one point in Russell Wilson's first year,
2 years ago.
In his first year, they gave up 17 points a game.
Right.
That should get you 12 wins.
The defense they got it going a little bit late, but the defense wasn't as good last year.
No. It wasn't where it was before that, but I'm just like, this feels dirty to me. This doesn't feel.
I can't say it's dirty.
That's what it feels like to me, that Sean Payton Because all the stuff of that, he's this, take his office from upstairs, and he's too busy kissing babies and shaking hands, and like all of the stuff that came out gave me to feel like he just didn't want him from Jump Street, and was hoping that it would be.
He did say that he thought they were going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I
remember that. In his Nat Hackett rant, he did say we're gonna make the playoffs.
I just felt like he never really wanted him, and that's what this is. And if the team has decided that they're going to follow Sean Payton, and Sean Payton will be the guy, and they'll go with a coach and have dead cap money and get rid of a quarterback and not have one for next year. I don't know what it is. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's odd because you don't know where they're going. And like you said, you're taking this incredible cap hit. And yeah, I mean, I think Sean Payton probably felt like at best, Russ is going to make us mediocre. We're right there in the middle, right? Where you're not going to get the high draft pick. You're not good enough to really contend, but you're not bad enough to be at the top of the draft and hopefully get your next quarterback. Although obviously we see top flight quarterbacks drafted late all the time. But I guess that was their thinking because, like I said, I don't know where they're going now. But I won't go as far as to say they did him dirty. He's getting plenty of money. He didn't play. He was horrible last year, 2 years ago. He was okay last year. But he didn't live up to his part either. Rob, you remember when he was in Seattle and there was the talk about should they trade Russell Wilson? Seemed like he and Pete Carroll were ready to part ways. I was totally like, get rid of Carroll. You got a Hall of Fame quarterback. You got the best quarterback in the franchise's history. He won your only Super Bowl. He's still young and in his prime. Keep him. But I can't front and act like he played well in Denver. It was baffling, especially 2 years ago. Now I said last year was better, but still not what you call very good.
Yeah, but I'll push back and say Sean Payton hasn't lived up to the expectations. Like where they were, Chris, and where that team was and how they were performing for him. And I know that they rebounded and played better in the middle of the season and things looked like they were like they had a chance to make the playoffs. And then again, they lost late and then didn't make it.
Right.
But my point is he didn't deliver. There was a 70-piece there. The defense wasn't as good. There were a lot of things there. Offense. Sean Payton's an offensive guy, right? Where was their offense in the red zone, Chris? I mean, that's something that I would think Sean Payton-led team would be better at, right? And it wasn't. And so that's why I'm saying I get it if you want to put some of it on Russell Wilson, but Sean Payton shouldn't get a pass.
He shouldn't get a pass.
But he had a bad first year,
one
too.
or the other. Yeah, he didn't do a great job last year. There's no doubt about it. Just about everybody expected more, Rob. I mean,
nobody expected that, right?
Yeah, you looked at that conference and you said, okay, I don't know how they're going to fit in and make the playoffs, but we expected them to be better than they were. So I'm not defending Sean Payton, but I don't think they're doing Russell Wilson dirty. I think he didn't perform. Ultimately it'll save him money in that they're not giving him all of that, $242 million. And that's, I think, one reason they're also trying to get off of it. The question, Rob, is where in the world is Russell Wilson going now? Like, there are reports that the Steelers, which, Rob,
we told you already, Chris. We told you they don't do this. The
Steelers?
Yeah, like going to get a quarter. Like you would think Rob, so. They said they're not interested.
None of them. They're not interested in Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins,
nobody.
Justin Fields. They going to war with Kenny Pickett?
I don't get it. I don't know where the Steelers are with this and why they keep doing it, but it's not in their DNA for whatever reason, Chris. If they just want to be 9-8 and make playoffs,
because that's all
they're going to be. That's all. If you want to be 9-8, make the playoffs and get drilled and don't score any points in the playoffs, go ahead. But it doesn't make any sense why they won't get a quarterback. I don't get it.
If I was a Steelers fan, Rob,
I'd be pissed.
I'm like, really? And again, look, as much as I just said, I don't think they're doing Russell Wilson wrong. If I'm Pittsburgh, he's better than Kenny Pickett.
Goodness gracious.
And Mason Rudolph or Justin Fields, Kirk Cousins, any of them. But let's take Pittsburgh out. I mean, Rob, I only see two possible places I guess you could throw in Washington. I don't think they'll go there. Starting jobs, Rob, you got New England. Although I think they might draft a quarterback. They got the third pick. Do they just go get Drake May? It looks like, Rob, possibly the Raiders. Rob G, that's your team. You want Russell Wilson with the Raiders?
They need Rob G, y'all need a quarterback.
Do I want Russell Wilson? Not particularly. Do I think it's entirely possible to land with him? Absolutely.
I mean, I don't see another landing spot. I mean, unless New England wants to make a move, but you're getting him on the cheap wherever he goes. I mean, the Rob, what about the Jets?
As a
Rob
backup,
Parker,
just in case.
Yeah, as a backup. I mean, and Rodgers.
I told you before, you know, Aaron's coming back. He's going to be 40 years old. You better have a good backup, Chris. You just better have a good backup. You can't play the same game. Now, the chance of him getting hurt again and missing the whole season, I'm not saying that that's going to be the case. But he could miss some games. He could be banged up. Like there's a lot of stuff that if I'm the Jets.
New York, right? I think there's two questions here outside of just the plan. Because, look, strictly football, it makes sense to bring him in as a backup in case Rodgers gets hurt. And maybe if Rodgers, this is his last year, you would have Wilson for, the future. But one, do you think Aaron Rodgers would be good with that? And two, Rob, we both know New York media. You were a columnist in New York. Do you think that could potentially be a distraction? If Rodgers plays poorly.
Right. I mean, it could be there, but I think people would give Rodgers 1 year from the standpoint that they didn't see him last year. Do you know what I mean?
Great last year.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was great. Like, oh my God, get him in there.
Right.
He was in Denver. They just ate $85 million to get rid of you. Like, I don't know if I'm trying to push you in that quickly. And let me just give you some other numbers real quick. I know we want to get some people in 877-99 on Fox. Chris, last year, Broncos were 20th in the red zone efficiency last year, right? Here's worse. Offensively, Broncos were 21st in yards under Hackett. They slipped down to 26 with Peyton, okay? And defensively, the Broncos were 7th under Hackett, slipped to 29th under Peyton. So, he didn't have a good year either.
Great year. No doubt about it. Rob G, you said quickly you got a dark horse candidate.
Yeah, and this all depends on your perspective, okay? Put yourself in the GM's perspective. Would you rather have Russell Wilson for the minimum or close to the minimum, or Kirk Cousins entering age 40 or close to age 40, making $40 million a season coming off a torn Achilles?
Oh, Russell Wilson.
Because Kirk Cousins is better, right? But you factor in the
coming
money
off a torn,
and the Achilles. And that team is sneaky good offensively. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Jay Hawkinson.
That's a tough call right there.
That's a team right there that could be looming if things go sideways with Kirk Cousins.
That's a good question. I mean, I'll tell you this. If Minnesota doesn't get, if they can't come to an agreement with Cousins and, Fields say, well, Cousins might go to Atlanta. I don't know where Fields could end up then. But there would be people I want before Russ. But then you could go after Russ. That's a good question.
That is a great question.
Because Kirk Cousins, I think Kirk Cousins back in Minnesota, Rob, they win games, maybe make the playoffs, but they're not winning it.
Right.
We've seen Kirk in the big games, and that's not his thing. So